We're Really Going to Miss Mary by Matt Stanton. Swish, swish, swish. Oh, God, it's Mary, Celeste bemoaned as she heard the soundtrack of those oversized left and right thighs rubbing against each other, with only a thin layer of cotton keeping the two combatants from making skin-to-skin contact. It seemed unlikely that designers at Zara thought about the cacophony that Cankles could create in their women's fall line if they fell into the wrong pair of legs. Mary's face was partially covered by the ash-blonde midi hairstyle with lowlights that she procured from her standing monthly appointment at Pinocchi's hair studio in Mira Mesa. Mary's left hand was filled with her Fox Nation coffee mug that was secured by stubby fingers she wrapped around the handle, leaving her thumbnail exposed, showing off the Italian flag that was painted on it. "Cuh-uh," Mary announced her presence in the usual slow-paced clearing of her throat. She was the only one who didn't realize that the symphony of fabric had already given away her position. Celeste looked up from her office chair because she knew this intrusion wouldn't cease until Mary was acknowledged. The best conversation starter that Celeste could muster up was a monotoned, "Good morning, Mary." "Oh, yeah, hey? I see you wore blue today. I guess it's a Blue Monday." "Yeah, I'm a huge New Order fan," Celeste said with a smile. "Oh, those are new?" Mary asked, as she didn't get the pop culture reference. Celeste knew Mary wouldn't understand that the band New Order had a hit song, Blue Monday. Celeste was mainly entertaining herself, since she knew Mary wasn't going to stray from her go-to script of office banter. It was only a matter of time before Mary would say, "Is it the weekend yet?" Or, "You brought a salad? I can't eat salad." Celeste knew that Mary didn't have much of a life outside these office walls. She knew that Mary just stared at the television, watching reruns of corny sitcoms in her one-bedroom condo every Saturday and Sunday because reading was, quote, too boring. She knew Mary didn't go out to bars or dance halls because they were, quote, sweaty and filled with perverts. She knew Mary didn't have any pets because they were, quote, too filthy and needy. She knew Mary didn't have a partner waiting at home because, quite frankly, she was Mary. What confused Celeste about Mary the most was every time she started to feel bad for her, Mary would show her streak of nastiness that erased all possibility for empathy. Despite often seeming aloof, Mary had many strong opinions and didn't mind sharing them. Ranging from smartphones to Indigenous Peoples Day, you knew exactly where Mary stood, and typically, it was back in the 1970s. A few months ago, Celeste decided she was going to bake Mary a batch of lemon squares as a bit of an olive branch. She knew that Mary enjoyed the taste of lemon because a 20-minute symposium Celeste was subjected to in the office kitchen one unfortunate afternoon. Celeste bought multiple varieties of organic lemons and even bought a small bottle of limoncello de Capri from the local Italian market to add a sharpness to the flavor. Mary took one bite and said, "You know who makes good lemon bars? Costco." Celeste had seen this woman eat half a dozen stale chocolate chip cookies that were left out in the lobby over a 3-day weekend, but these homemade lemon bars were beneath her palate? "I never tried Costco's, but I made these myself," Celeste said, trying her best to give Mary a chance to say thank you. The problem was Mary had the awareness of a sea cow floating in the Gulf of Mexico on Memorial Day weekend. Mary tossed her barely eaten lemon square into the garbage. "Oh, yeah, well, that was stupid. You should just went to Costco." Mary waddled her way out of the kitchen, leaving Celeste alone to mull over whether she should give the remaining bars to her boss Julius or smash them on Mary's car windshield. Mary's boss was Ken. He was the managing partner and an exceptionally qualified attorney who took on all the firm's biggest cases. He was in his mid-50s and despite only being 5'9", held a commanding presence. Ken tolerated Mary, mainly because she followed his instructions, and he had great tact at getting out of mundane conversations with her. Celeste's boss was Julius. He was a junior partner. Ken was 20 years his senior and was a bit of a mentor for him. Celeste and Julius were actually the same age and had a great working relationship. On occasion, they would do a happy hour after work. The same could not be said about Ken and Mary. There was an intense energy at the office this morning. One of the firm's biggest clients, Mr. Tucker, was coming in to discuss a lawsuit he was currently embattled in. The Tucker family owned a dozen office buildings in downtown, and his wife came from the Rosario family, which owned multiple Michelin-star restaurants. Combined, their family's wealth was well into the 8 figures. Mr. Tucker's current case was a dispute over one of his office buildings. The occupant felt like the promised upgrades weren't coming in on schedule and was refusing to pay rent. Tucker's stance was their contract allowed for extenuating circumstances, and failing to receive rent gave him grounds to evict the tenant. As for most cases at the firm, it was rich people suing other rich people. When you grow up with the dream of working in law, these weren't the kind of cases that were on the docket of your childhood play courtroom. Mr. Tucker arrived for his 10 a.m. consultation. He was a short, bald man that was stylishly dressed in a gray suit and matching wingtip shoes. He walked quickly and shifted his eyes from left to right with every step. It was like he was perpetually evaluating his surroundings, thinking about how he could earn money from it. He was headed towards Ken's office, which was on the opposite side of the floor from Celeste's cubicle. Before he made his entrance, he was cut off by Mary. "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Celeste whispered under her breath. Mary was babbling about something, but Celeste couldn't hear what was being said because she had her headphones on. After about a minute of back and forth, the tone clearly shifted. Mr. Tucker started gesticulating wildly with his hands. Celeste was too far away to read their lips, but she could tell that the conversation had gotten more intense than something about, "Are those new shoes?" or whatever drivel Mary usually brings to an office discourse. Celeste stood up when she saw Mr. Tucker storm off and slam the door to Ken's office. It was only a matter of moments before Mr. Tucker bolted back out and Ken followed behind him with a death stare that was directed squarely at Mary's cubicle. Ken's tan face had turned a deep shade of red, and a vein that Celeste had never seen before bulged out of his left temple. It resembled a lightning bolt shooting out of the salt and pepper cloud of hair Ken had styled that morning. "Mary, my office, now." Ken's office door must have been made from the finest steel because Celeste couldn't hear a sound from the tongue lashing she knew Mary had to be receiving. A seasoned lawyer, Ken knew how to construct language that took a bite out of anyone in his path. 10 minutes had passed before the office door swung open. Ken exited, holding his gym bag, and briskly walked past Celeste's desk and headed for the lobby. By his furrowed brow, Celeste could tell Ken was in no mood to talk and needed to blow off steam at his midday workout session at the fitness club that the law firm shared the parking garage with. Celeste pretended to be typing on her laptop as not to give Ken any reason to point his focus on her. Moments later, Mary stumbled her way out of Ken's office. Her face was covered in tears. Her bulbous nose was dripping with nasal liquid, and shoulders were slumped down, somehow making her look even more like a bowling ball. Mary made her way to the corner of Celeste's cubicle before stopping and placing her stubby fingers on the metal that lined the partition. "Oh, Mary, what happened?" Celeste tried her best to look concerned and not break out into intense laughter. Mary was having trouble controlling herself. "Ken fired me." The words bubbled out of her swollen face. "How could he do this? I gave him 3 years of my life." "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Celeste continued her best acting job of her life. "Do you have someone to talk to?" No, I just want to leave," Mary screamed as she finished her sentence. She stumbled past Celeste and walked out into the lobby, leaving everything behind at her desk. Julius, carrying his briefcase, was just arriving as he crossed paths with Mary in the lobby. He winced his face and made a beeline to Celeste's station. Man, did I pick a day to come in late. Julius always came in late on Mondays, though. He was a young lawyer that had parents who paid for his degree in full, so he liked to soak up the downtown club scene and buy female grad students fancy cocktails. "You missed a lot, Julius. Did you talk to Ken?" "Yes, I did. In the garage." Julius was a bit of an office gossiper, so he could barely contain himself as he spilled the tea. Oh boy, Mary called Mr. Tucker an idiot, and he was pissed. Something about salads. He went into Ken's office and said, "You get rid of that fucking employee right now, or you can forget about working with me or my family's trust ever again." Oh my God. She finally did it. She finally said something stupid to the wrong person. Celeste had always dreamed that this day would come. She wondered how Mary was able to get away with her nasty streaks. At times, it felt like she was one of those crooked politicians that kept getting out of every scandal. It looked like her luck had finally ran out. Julius situated his face somewhere between a grimace and a smile. "Yeah, we're really gonna miss Mary." After he took what seemed to be an appropriate amount of reflective pause, Julius tapped the edge of Celeste's cubicle frame. "Can we go back over that file that McLean's office sent over this morning?" "Sure thing. I'll get right on that." Celeste nodded before turning back to her computer screen. Tapping her fingers along the home row of her keyboard, she stopped and listened. What's that sound? It was silence. Celeste grinned so high that her full cheeks nearly blocked her line of sight. Silence. Oh, how I missed you. We're Really Going to Miss Mary, a short story by Matt Stanton. If you would like to know more about his writing, his comedy career, or other going-ons, you can follow him on Instagram at Matt Stanton Comedy, his website, mattstantoncomedy.com, or on Facebook, facebook.com/Matt Stanton Comedy. Thank you very much for listening.